Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are tuning in today. Thank you so much for joining me for the final talk of this series on loving kindness. This is a Q&A session, and I have some questions here that I received via Messenger over the week that I'm going to go through. However, if there are questions from a live audience which come up for any of you watching this, do send them through Messenger, and I think that might be the best way for me to get them. And I will try to check Messenger and answer those questions live if possible. If it's not possible, sorry about that, and I will get to those eventually on the next Q&A, hopefully. So a few announcements before I launch into today's offering. I'm happy to announce that I am offering an online retreat on the topic of loving kindness. This is the New Year's Winter Retreat. It runs from January 3rd to February 4th. And the times that I'm about to mention are the times in Pacific Coast time of America. That's at 6 p.m. on Sunday evenings and Thursday evenings. For East Coast time, that's 9 p.m. Now, there's been some kind of kerfuffle with the Facebook events page. The time has been a bit confusing there for some people. This is 9 a.m. Here in Thailand on Monday and Fridays. Again, 6 p.m. Pacific Coast time, Sunday evenings and Thursday evenings. Now, we're meeting twice a week for 90-minute sessions over Zoom. And I use the Zoom platform. It's a great platform for allowing me to show slides while I'm teaching, allowing me to give paperwork and homework in an easy to access format. Also, one of the great benefits of using Zoom is that I can record the episodes now, or the meetings, or whatever you want to call them. Episodes are good. So this is a great benefit because there are many people who want to attend the retreat and they can't make Thursday evenings, for example, or they can't make 2 or 3 of the sessions, or even all of the Thursday sessions, or a few of the Sunday sessions, whatever their schedule is. For some reason, they can't make some of the sessions. In fact, I have one retreat participant who can't make any of the sessions, but he wanted to have access to the recordings and to be able to ask questions through email. And so he's joining the retreat in that way. And that's fine. If you can make the sessions, that's even better because you'll have the interactive experience over Zoom with the other retreat participants. You'll be able to ask me questions live and so forth, and have that real interaction that's can be quite beneficial. But don't miss signing up for the retreat if you're just going to miss a few of the sessions because all of the sessions will be made available through recording so people can keep up with assignments and can ask questions about the recording through email. So that's, again, a Loving Kindness retreat. It starts January 3rd and runs February 4th, twice a week for 90-minute sessions over Zoom. For more details on that, please do go visit my website, www.suchsweetthunder.org, and go to the Retreats and Programs page. It'll have all of the registration details and everything you need to get signed up. I know it's right around the corner next week, but there are still some spots available. Next announcement, I am accepting applications for one-on-one students. So if anybody here would like to start a meditation practice, it's always a really good idea to have a good teacher available when one starts a meditation practice. You can strike out on your own. There's lots of apps and videos and things like that. But it's really similar to learning a musical instrument or learning a language. You can do it on your own, but it really helps to have a good guide, a good teacher, somebody who's walked the path, who knows the common pitfalls, and who can cater a practice to the student's needs. That's one of the great benefits of working one-on-one in the student-teacher relationship. For me personally, I get to adapt and create and shape a meditation practice which serves the individual in front of me, rather than just following a curriculum or following a set curriculum of meditations. I get to actually adjust and fine-tune the meditations according to what's arising to each student. So if that sounds interesting to you, either beginners or people who currently have a meditation practice but they're interested in going deeper, do go visit the website again. That's suchsweetthunder.org, and visit the online studies page. That has all of the information there that you'll need to get started with the one-on-one studies program. That's all of the announcements I have today, so you can thank me or curse me later. We're going to get into the program here. And I thought we'd start with just a quick guided meditation. This will be a loving kindness meditation where I'll just guide us briefly into the present moment. I'll give you options for different anchors of the present moment, different entry points. And then we'll offer phrases of loving kindness to our own heart and then to the world, like that. And we do this as a way of kind of resourcing the loving kindness that's already in our heart, but our mind is generally too occupied with other things to notice it. And so we'll just do this for maybe 3 to 5 minutes as a way of setting the stage for the talk ahead. So enjoy this brief guided meditation. Again, this is optional. All of the guided meditations on these talks are optional if you wish to just sit and follow your breath, or use this time to get up and get a drink of water and come back when the talk starts. That's fine. If you're watching this on recording, you can also just fast forward 2 or 3 minutes in the recording and pick up the talk from there. And so the invitation here is to really allow the body, mind, and heart to rest. If you notice any obvious tensions, you can invite those to relax and grow soft. And as we rest here in this present moment, I'd like to invite you to now bring attention and awareness to sensations of the breath, entering and leaving the nose. You might notice a cool or a dry sensation there. Regardless of the quality of sensation, simply noting what the breath feels like as it enters and leaves the nose. Or perhaps noticing the breath as it touches the back of the throat. You might notice the temperature changing from cooler to warmer at the nose and the back of the throat. Perhaps noticing the rib cage expanding and contracting with each breath. Some people find the rising and falling of the abdomen very accessible to feel. So you might notice that as well. Perhaps sensations of clothing moving to adjust with the rising and falling of the chest and abdomen as you breathe in and breathe out. You might also notice the back moving out on the inhalation and in on the exhalation. And so these are some options, some entry points to coming into contact with the present moment. If the breath just feels inaccessible, that's fine. You can also use sensations of the body, perhaps noticing the feet against the mat or the floor, perhaps noticing socks or shoes against the feet. You might also notice sensations of clothing against the legs, the weight of the body against the cushion or chair, mat or floor. Sensations of clothing against the back. The hands resting against the body or touching each other. The arms resting against the body. You might also notice sensations of clothing against the shoulders. You might also notice sensations arising from the back of the neck. The cheeks of the face. Noticing any sensations arising from the top of the head, the very crown of the head. And so the sensations of the body are also entry points into the present moment. So we can choose from sensations of the breath, any of the sensations arising throughout the body, or you might also like to use a sound or a series of sounds as a way of bringing you into intimate contact with the present moment. And we do this simply by listening to the present moment. There's no wrong sound or right sound. It's just what's arising in the sense of hearing right here and right now. And so allowing the body, mind, and heart to settle, resting with the sounds of the present moment and or sensations of breath and body. We'll begin offering these very precious phrases of loving kindness to our own heart as an act of self-care, of self-compassion. After each phrase, you can visualize or imagine what life would look or feel like if that phrase was completely reflective of your own life circumstance. If you wish, as an option, you can place one hand or both hands over your heart. That can sometimes help the questions or the phrases of loving kindness land. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live a life free from struggle, without harm. May I welcome whatever arises. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I live a life of peace, free from struggle. May I welcome whatever arises. And if any feelings of warmth or loving kindness arises, bring that warmth. There might be a tingling, or you might see a color or a light. There's no wrong way or right way for loving kindness to manifest for you. It can be a very individual experience. You'll know it. The idea is to rest in that experience of loving kindness. Allow it to radiate throughout your body as much as possible. From the marrow of the bones to the surface of the skin. And in a few breaths, we'll begin to pivot out of this guided meditation and into a conversational space. I'll cue that by ringing the meditation bell 3 times. Allow the bell to carry that loving kindness through your heart and body and mind. So thank you for joining me for that brief guided meditation into the practice of loving kindness. And so we're going to be doing quite a bit of that type of practice on the online retreat, which I mentioned at the beginning of this offering here today, where we dive much deeper, and each meditation usually lasts between a half an hour and 45 minutes. And we really go into each phrase and allow the phrase to really sit in the heart and then radiate out through our being. Now, I'd like to move here, if I may, into the question and answer session. If you are watching this on the recording and you want to spend some more time with that guided meditation there now, you can press pause, and that's fine. I'll be here when you're finished, and we can resume then. If you're watching this live, you're free to go back and watch the recording at a later time. Also, I have many guided meditations of loving kindness on YouTube and on my website as well. Okay, so here are some of the questions that I received. So the first one here, I'm probably not going to get to all of these today, and I'm really sorry if I miss you. But I like to really dive deep into each question and really get into the flesh and the heart of the question, if that's okay. So this question, the meditator asks here, when offering loving kindness to myself and to loved ones, it feels natural and flowing. But when I begin to offer loving kindness to challenging people in my life, it feels forced and fake. Is there something I can do to correct this? Am I doing something wrong? This is a really common question, and what the questioner here is referring to are the stages of the traditional loving kindness practice. So we start with ourself, as we just did. And the way I like to offer it when I work with people one-on-one is we spend quite a bit of time just doing loving kindness for the self. It's very resourceful, it's very powerful. And it's actually really a handy tool to have in the year 2020 and going forward with all of the challenges socially, politically, worldwide, to have this resource where we can cultivate this ground of loving kindness and then move forward into challenging experiences or challenging relationships or challenging conversations that we might have to have from that ground of loving kindness. Okay, so that's where the practice starts, with the self. And then traditionally, we start extending that loving kindness to people we love, family members, friends, people we're fond of. And then we expand it further to include people we don't know, strangers. And we spend some time doing that, maybe even a couple of weeks, really working with that. There's a lot of great benefits to that stage of the practice. And then we widen that circle of care and compassion to include people we don't like. And this is what this questioner here is referring to, this stage of the practice. This person says it feels forced and fake. Is there something I can do to correct this? Am I doing something wrong? No, this isn't wrong. This is absolutely normal and natural. Oftentimes when practitioners enter into this stage of the practice, it can feel like when I first did this practice, it felt like I was beating my head against a wall of gray. Literally, quite literally, that's what it felt like this gray wall. As far as you look up and you just see wall of gray, and it felt like nothing was coming through the heart. Say, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and the heart would just It's challenging to offer loving kindness to people we don't like. So in one of the earlier episodes, I talked about the hand and fist practice or example, and I'm gonna just kind of briefly bring that up again here. I'm not gonna walk us through another guided meditation in the interest of time, but what you can do is consider that resistance. Whatever it feels like for you, whether it's a wall of gray or a black heart or just a stubbornness that really won't budge. The idea then is to recognize that that's normal and not try to push through it. That's really important with loving kindness practice. We don't want to try to push through anything. if you notice that there is a type of pushing, there's a type of struggle there, take a deep breath, come back, rest. When you feel recharged, resourceful, it could be in that same meditation or it could be the next day, then move forward with the loving kindness. If it feels like a struggle, if it feels like you're wrestling with the practice, eventually that leads to a hardening against the practice itself. And that becomes really quite tricky to undo. So if you ever feel in any meditation practice, whether it's loving kindness or mindfulness practice, if you ever feel like it's a struggle or a chore, best to take a break. Come back again when things feel fresh and you have the energy to move into it. If it starts to feel again like a struggle the next day, you can struggle with a little bit, but again, if it ever feels like a chore, again, take another break. And eventually you will kind of, that resistance will start to break down, will start to dissolve. So I mentioned this hand and fist example. So you can consider the fist the resistance that you're referring to here. Or if anybody else here has felt a resistance in meditation or in life for that matter. This can work in everyday experience as well. If there's a resistance to anything you're experiencing, you can consider that like a fist, the fist of resistance. And consider that this fist, inside the fist, in the palm, holds everything that keeps you safe in your life. Everything that keeps you protected. Everything that keeps you sane. Everything that allows you to sleep at night is in that fist. And then you can consider the other hand, you can see that, a hand of compassion. And so in the meditation, and I said this can be applicable in everyday life, but I'm just going to use the meditation for the example here because this is addressing this question. So in the meditation, if you feel this resistance, you can even make a fist when you feel the resistance come up. And put the hand of compassion underneath the fist. The hand of compassion supporting the resistance. And then you can say to the fist, of course you're here right now. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for keeping me safe. You can say things like, you're doing a great job keeping me safe. I really appreciate that you're here right now. And so when we take care of the resistance, we show it support and compassion, we take the struggle away. The resistance will still be there in regards to extending loving kindness to that person who punched you in the jaw, or whatever it is, that challenging person, that politician that you can't stand. Whoever the challenging person is that you're sending loving kindness to, that resistance will be there. And so now though, it won't feel like something we need to struggle against. We're appreciating that it's there. It's actually there for a reason. We don't need to analyze why it's there, but it's there. All of our resistances came into our awareness, our unconscious, as a way of keeping us safe and protected. It could be from many years ago. It could be as recent as yesterday. It doesn't really matter when it showed up. It's there for a reason. So if we try to push against it, it's only going to reinforce that resistance. When we accept it, when we appreciate it, when we thank it, when we share it, hold it with compassion, the energy of the loving kindness can now start to flow around the resistance. And it might just be just a glimmer, a shimmer of light that comes out like a sunrise over that fist of resistance. And then that sunrise beams out to the person of difficulty. And that might just be it. That might just be that door just opens, the heart just opens just a crack. And that's it for that day. And that's enough. What's happening there is when that loving kindness starts to flow around that resistance, it's very much like water rushing down a river flowing around rocks. That flow begins to erode the resistance. That fist of resistance, it starts to chip away, it starts to erode it. Like that. So we don't have to push through it. We don't have to wrestle with that resistance. We don't have to, get tied up in knots. Just hold the resistance with loving kindness. Hold it with compassion. Appreciate that it's there. Recognize that it's there for good reason. And then just continue allowing, may you be happy. May you be safe. Like that. And it's going to feel awkward. It kind of feels like, shaking your head no and saying yes at the same time. It's kind of that kind of tension to it. Say, yes, I want that. No, wait, I can't even do it. Yes, I like that. Or, no, that doesn't feel right. It has that kind of tension to it. It's very, it rubs against the grain. Intentionally, it's meant to do that. When you think about how counterintuitive it is to send loving kindness to someone we don't like, particularly if it's someone we really don't like. Now, traditionally, it's recommended that we start with somebody light. We don't want to start with somebody who really wronged us with this practice, because that can just be a slog fest, and then it really does become a chore. So start with somebody who just causes you a little bit of discomfort. And bring them into the meditation. You can do that by visualizing, or if visualization is difficult, you just say their name several times, get a feel for their presence, and then extend that loving kindness. Notice the resistance if there is a resistance there. Hold the resistance with compassion while you extend the loving kindness, while you continue the practice. Hold that fist of resistance. Now, sometimes that resistance is just that wall of gray, and it's just, you can't even get that shimmer of light around that stone in the river. So what I recommend then is that one actually take some time away from the loving kindness practice and do meditations that are designed on forgiveness. Now, I have, if you're looking for this, if you want to enter a practice of forgiveness meditation, and they are really wonderful practices, by the way. I've gotten great benefit out of doing extended time with forgiveness meditation, and I highly recommend them. I have a couple of those as well on my website. They're on the Challenging Emotions Guided Meditation page on suchsweetthunder.org. So if you wish to explore forgiveness meditation, that's fine. How that ties in with loving kindness is so one gets to this stage, right? We practice loving kindness for ourselves, loving kindness for loved ones, loving kindness for strangers. We get to the challenging person and it's just, nothing will give, right? Again, that's not wrong, it's normal, it's natural. And so maybe we try this hand and fist method. We notice the resistance, we treat it with compassion and care. And still, day in, day out, nothing's budging. Step out of the loving kindness practice, go into this practice of forgiveness. Now, when we practice forgiveness, I just want to say a little bit about forgiveness here. Forgiveness isn't about condoning bad behavior. It's not about saying what this person did is okay, if this person really hurt me. It's about taking that stone of resentment out of our heart. And once that stone of resentment is removed from the heart, we can more easily and more effectively embrace the present moment. We leave the past where it was. And as I forgot which teacher, I think maybe Jack Kornfield pointed out, we're all villains in somebody's story. And we all have villains in our own story. With 7 billion plus, I should say, people in the world, there's going to be some bumping into each other. And so if we can, if we feel that that resentment, that stone of resentment in the heart, it might be a good opportunity to take that stone of resentment to the practices of forgiveness and work with what's there. If you choose to do that, that's great. I highly recommend and I support that decision. If this is in conjunction with a loving kindness practice, this isn't a step back or a failure in any way. You're just taking a detour, working with forgiveness, and then you might come back to the loving kindness after a few weeks and continue the stages where you go back into the challenging person, then offering loving kindness to groups of people, and then to the entire world, and really to the universe, to all beings everywhere. So I think that answered the question there. And I am really running low on time now, but I did want to read kind of a really beautiful story here as a way of kind of closing the year 2020. And this is a story about some of the, well, it's one person's story about loving kindness with somebody who probably was at one point considered a perceived enemy. But through these practices of loving kindness, the perceived enemy becomes the friend, the ally, the loved one. And this is a story that I read out of Jack Kornfield's book, Bringing Home the Dharma. Okay. One 14-year-old boy had shot and killed an innocent teenager to prove himself to his gang. At the trial, the victim's mother sat impassively silent until the end, when the youth was convicted of the killing. After the verdict was announced, she stood up slowly and stared directly at him and stated, "I'm going to kill you." Then the youth was taken away to serve several years in the juvenile facility. After the first half year, the mother of the slain child went to visit his killer. He had been living on the streets before the killing, and she was the only visitor he'd had. For a time they talked, and when she left, she gave him some money for cigarettes and supplies. Then she started step by step to visit him more regularly, bringing food and small gifts. Near the end of his 3-year sentence, she asked him what he would be doing when he got out of prison. He seemed confused and very uncertain, so she offered to set him up with a job at a friend's company. Then she inquired about where he would live, and since he had no family to return to, she offered him temporary use of the spare room in her home. Just let that sink in for a moment. She offered the killer of her son use of her spare room in her home. For 8 months he lived there, ate her food, and worked at the job that she arranged for him. Then one evening she called him into the living room to talk. She sat down opposite him and waited, took a few breaths, and then started. "Do you remember in the courtroom when I said I was going to kill you?" "I sure do, ma'am," he replied. "Well, I did," she went on. "I did not want the boy who could kill my son for no reason to remain alive on earth. I wanted him to die. That's why I started to visit you and to bring you things. That's why I got you the job and let you live here in my house. That's how I set about killing you. And that old boy, he's gone now. So now I want to ask you, since my son is gone and that killer is gone, if you'd stay here. I've got room and I'd like to adopt you if you would let me." And this kind woman became the mother of her son's killer, the mother he never had. And this is why. This is the why. Why we practice loving kindness for people we don't like, for challenging people. It would be easy to just let them remain our enemy, to remain holding on to anger or resentment or grudges. And if we choose that path, the wars continue. The violence will continue. Senseless killings will continue. "2021 might be a good year for violence to come to an end. I'd like to think so. And so I will continue teaching these practices as best as I can. I will continue practicing these practices to the best of my ability. Because as John Lennon said, war is over if you want it. John Lennon's Christmas song. War is over if you want it. Happens one by one, on an individual level. We end violence, one by one. So I think that's all I want to offer today. Thank you so much for joining me in this adventure through Lovingkindness, these offerings that lasted throughout the month of December. If you missed any, they are all available on YouTube or on Instagram or here on Facebook. I haven't put them up on my website yet, but they will be there soon. Have a great New Year's. Imagine loving kindness. Imagine a world of peace. If we can imagine it, that's the imagination is the seed of manifestation. When there's resistance there, don't try to push the resistance. Appreciate the resistance. hold it with compassion. I hope to see some of you on the online retreat offering. If not there, I'm sure we'll meet somewhere in the virtual world or in real life. Stay safe, stay clean, stay healthy. Please wear your masks, wash your hands, and we'll see you then. Thanks.